Hello, welcome to my channel. I am a gardener in Ohio Zone 6A. In today's video, I want to talk about peppers. Some tips and tricks that I have learned over the last couple of years about growing peppers that may be helpful to you, particularly if you're in a colder climate like I am. It's pretty cold outside right now here in Ohio. I also want to talk about what seedlings I've currently got going, the stages they're at, when I plan to transplant them, and some things I plan on starting this weekend, next week, throughout March, basically. So if that sounds interesting to you, please sit back, relax, grab a cup of tea, subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff. If you're so inclined, it will be greatly appreciated. And let's get into it. These are my beautiful, beautiful pepper plants. These are bell peppers, specifically the variety California Wonder. Cali Wonder. And these are serrano peppers. I have learned so much by growing just these two varieties and a few others that I've tried that I want to share with you because it's going to be helpful to someone because I wish somebody would have told me. So this is my second year really focusing on trying to grow peppers. Last year, the variety I was growing were, I think they were also California Wonder bell peppers, and they got to about this size. But there was a difference. Their leaves were very, very dark, almost black, purple kind of color. And it just didn't look right. They also paused at that size. They did not get any bigger. And they lived for like another 2 or 3 months, but they just wouldn't get any bigger and had those dark, dark leaves. I looked up a bunch of reasons why this could possibly be. And I finally got the answer this year. What it was, my soil was too cold. Peppers will not grow in cold soil. They just won't do it. It needs to be at least 75 degrees for them to feel comfortable, for their roots to be able to absorb the nutrients in the soil. So last year, it was so cold that my little peppers, they couldn't even eat. They were so cold. They couldn't absorb the nutrients in the soil. So they froze where they were. This year, I have them on a heat mat, keeping them warm, and I'm actually going to keep them on the heat mat for their entire time indoors. Now, I'm not going to let it get too warm. I'm going to keep it at 75 tops. You wouldn't want to go too high, and it could stress out the plants, but 75 is warm. It'll keep them comfortable. The reason I need to do this, and you may need to do this, is I keep a particularly cold house. My house is never above 60 degrees in the winter / early spring. So I need some help to keep my pepper seedlings warm and to keep them healthy. So that is how I'm keeping these guys going, and they're looking pretty good. It's time for me almost to pop them up, start feeding them, but currently they're healthy and doing good. So now let's go on to the serranos. I had not planned on planting serranos. I originally wanted to plant jalapenos because when it comes to spicy food, I'm kind of a lightweight. So jalapenos seemed like they would be okay for me. My jalapeno seeds never germinated. They rotted in the soil. Not a single one germinated, and that was very sad. So then I moved on to Anaheim. Anaheim produces a ton of fruits. It's a great pepper. I was super, super excited. I had them on the heat mat. I'm like, what can go wrong? The bell peppers grew, so maybe the jalapenos were just a bad batch. The Anaheim also failed. So I was super disappointed and I was thinking, well, it must be the seed packet. It must be the seed company. They must just be, bad at packaging their seeds and all that kind of stuff. However, I decided to give it one more chance. And this time around, I decided to start my seeds via the paper towel method, which I show in my last video if you want to check that out. With that method, I got a much, much higher germination rate. And those seeds that germinated, I gently transplanted in here. And as you can see, they're doing pretty great. So that is the next tip I would have on pepper starting. If you're having trouble, start them from the paper towel method, especially if you have a cold house or if you're newer to gardening like I am. It's a great way to know pretty quickly if your seeds are viable or if you have a bad batch, and to get good germination. I'm going to do it every year from now on with peppers. It's the only way I'm going to plant them because I just feel like you have more control. My final pepper tip, I feel, is a little controversial, and I don't know if it's good advice or bad advice, but I'm going to put it out there because it's what I'm doing, and I want to be honest about it. I feel like leaving the dome on, even past the stage where they have their first true leaves, is not the worst thing you can do. Again, if you're in a cold climate, a cold house, a cold location like I am, the dome just gives them that little extra bit of warmth. And as long as you're not overwatering, as long as you vent it daily, make sure they're not like, just in this super humid environment, you should be okay because it just traps in that little bit of extra heat and it helps them when they're super young seedlings. Again, this is just what I did. I don't feel like this is necessarily what would be recommended. Maybe it is, but I've always heard take the seedling, take the heat, take the dome off as soon as they sprout. But I left it on. I'm like, my house is too cold. They need a little bit of extra help, and so far they're alive and they're thriving. So I'm like, they're good. They're good. It helped. I feel like, but you do you. That's just something that I feel like has worked for me. Okay, so now I'm going to show you where I am currently with the rest of my seedlings. Here are my onions. Originally, the Patterson were doing really well, and the Walla Walla were lagging behind. The Walla Walla have caught up, and they are all looking great. They've had a haircut. I'm feeding them a balanced feed. I'm going to grab it to show you. It's a 2-to-2 ratio, and I'm feeding it at 1/4 of the recommended strength. So, and I'm probably feeding them about once a week when they dry out. And so far, so good. First year growing onions, so I don't really know what I'm doing, but they're okay. Then I have a bunch of cabbage, broccoli, and kale that I've just recently potted up. I got one of these things from Amazon, one of these potting container thingies, and I really like it. It just makes moving them around much easier. Yeah, they're doing good. Gonna start feeding them, but so far, so good. I do need more lights. I'm kind of filling up on space, which is a little scary, but I'm hoping I can get a lot of these cold season things out before I have to start like my tomatoes and warm season things indoors. Let me see, I gotta grab a good one. So this is Sedum Dragon's Blood, and this was kind of an experiment. I didn't have much hope for it, and it's still early days, so I don't know. But I'm going to use this as ground cover under a rose bush out front. That's currently just bare dirt. It looks awful. This is really, really beautiful when it grows. It makes this gorgeous carpet. The seeds are tiny, but they have sprouted, and maybe you can see the seedlings. I don't know. They're tiny, and they're gonna stay tiny for weeks and weeks and weeks. But I should be able to put them out, transplant them in about a month, maybe 2 months, but a month hopefully. And finally, my kohlrabi. I'm really, really excited about this. It's just starting to get its true leaves. I've never ever had kohlrabi. I've just heard people talk about it, but it looks like something I would really like. So I'm super excited. They need a drink of water. I'm gonna have to do something about that. Yeah, I will be transplanting these out, I don't know, probably in about a month, I would say. Probably about mid-April, a month and a half. Yeah, about 6 weeks. Most of these winter sown things will be going outdoors. Okay, what am I planting this week? I am going to plant butter crunch, butterhead lettuce, and I'm going to plant Swiss chard giant Ford hook. That's hard to say. I'm going to plant the buttercrunch butterhead lettuce because it's kind of a heading lettuce, and I want to kind of get it up to a decent size when I move it out, and I think it'll take a while. I'm probably going to plant quite a lot of this because we eat a lot of lettuce, and then I'm going to succession sow it. I can't talk it throughout the spring. So hopefully there will be lots and lots of lettuce. The Swiss chard. I have never had Swiss chard, as far as I know. I don't think I have. And I'm not entirely sure what to do with it, but I know it's really hardy. And I think it's supposed to be pretty nutritious. And I have these seeds, so I'm going to grow this. So these are the two things that I'm going to be doing this weekend. Then throughout March, maybe towards the end of March, I'm going to start just lots of other kinds of lettuce. I've got my little seed book here, filled with everything. Let's see. Up. Yeah, so in terms of lettuce, I will be growing. Okay. So, oh, you can't really see. So black-seeded Simpson, oak leaf, green oak leaf lettuce, ruby leaf lettuce, and arugula, which is not a lettuce, but that's also something I'm growing. So I'm kind of going for, I want a more colorful vegetable garden this year. So I'm liking lots of reds and purples and things like that. Also, ruby, it's a tasty, nice lettuce to grow. So I'm going to grow these. And once again, I have the seeds. What happened was I got one of those, well, my husband got it, but it was like one of those survivalist seed packets. And it had all these things before I actually started really gardening. And we have a ton of seeds from that I need to use up. And I think most of them are still pretty viable. So yeah, that's what we're doing. So that's it for this video. I don't usually, and I won't usually, be putting videos out midweek. But I just had some updates I wanted to share. I had the house to myself, and I was in the mood to make a video. So I did. But I will be making another video this weekend and posting it, and it'll just be me probably just planting the lettuce and anything else that I can think of that I need to plant. And just some more updates, kind of where we're at. And I don't know, I'll figure out something because I want to make a video and it's got to be more interesting than just me planting lettuce. If you have any ideas, please feel free to share. Anyhow, yeah, thank you for watching. The season is really starting to pick up. We've just got another month before I get started on my tomatoes, which I'm really excited about. End of March, maybe pushing it to mid-April. That's when I'll start my tomatoes. So it's getting exciting. And by then we can be outdoors. Things can actually be in the ground. I can't wait. And thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, all those good things. And I will see you next time. Peace. Hello, I am a gardener in Ohio Zone 6A. In today's video, I would like to talk about some tips.